Hello there. Happy Saturday, gang. Saturday, October 11th, 9 a.m. I'm going to try and do these Saturday at 9 a.m. We'll see if this is a good time. It might be too early for the West Coasters. Oh, my YouTube just went on. Okay. There we go. Yeah, I'm going to see if this time works out. Might be a bit early. Might be too early for me, but worked out nicely today. Thank you to the gang that's here. Wadey. Good morning, John Lux. Sonic Blue. Hey guys. Your friends call you Mike or Michael? Michael. For some reason, there was kind of a nasty kid at the end of our block when I was growing up that was named Mikey. So my mom didn't let anyone call me Mikey. And there was just a lot of Michaels when I was growing up. So everyone else was Mike, and I was always Michael. I also go by Miguel because I'm Puerto Rican, and my mom would call me Miguel. And my buddy is Cuban, so he calls me Miguel. But I respond to Mike and Mikey. Actually, I have friends that call me Mikey. Jessica Harvey, hello. Nice to see you. It's awesome. Chris, PV, Wildinator. That's the best name. Jimmy Bitzer. And Lawrence, hello. Anyone that is into baseball at all, holy smokes, the playoffs have been spectacular games. What a treat. Last night, we went to like 15 innings, and then the team I wanted, the Detroit Tigers, lost. But it's been good baseball. That's all the sports talk I'm going to do. Don't worry. It's fine. But mostly it'll go back to pedals because I'm back into, I'm in like the midlife crisis of pedals, but of pedal boards. It's really amazing. I don't know if you guys have experienced this too. When I'll talk about me. I could plug into pedal and within about 2.5, 3 seconds know if I like it. I won't know if it's, great, but instantly I could go like yes or no. You do that with a guitar, with an amp too. I mean, it's so quick. It's the silly thing about that we're all stuck in this online buying situation because I could just like go into a complete lust for a guitar for weeks and weeks and weeks. And then I finally happen to go to a store and it's there and I touch it and I'm like, nope, instantly. Nope, absolutely not. Not even close. That happens to me a lot too. PB, it's going to be the Dodgers now. The Dodgers are going to, I forget. I got to push this. Sorry, guys. Who do I have in the World Series? It's going to be the Dodgers. I actually thought the Phillies might take them before they started playing. And then they just were like, here you go, Dodgers. Welcome to the next round. All right, that's all of the guitar. Back to the pedalboard crisis at hand. I'm totally into that. But, there are some absolutely killer pedals that I am thoroughly enjoying. I'll tell you what. Velcro. This is my rant of the day. I would, if I had what was this, a Thanos glove, and I could snap my fingers and make something go away, it would be the crappy, fuzzy original Velcro, just gone. Ugh. Okay, then the next tier, it leaves a problem of, I mentioned before that I got this D'Addario Extend board and they obnoxiously fitted it with the fuzzy Velcro, thinking, oh, this will be great. People would just put their stuff on it. So I took all that off, but they left a groove for the Velcro. So now when I put my real Velcro dual lock on it, there's an edge here and then it dips down and then another ledge. You can't see it that way. Okay, if we look sideways, ledges, and then like a little thing. And this is where you have to put the Velcro. So when you put your pedal, it's hitting these top parts. So I have to elevate, right? And then there's pedal makers, which this drives me crazy because you know your pedal's going to go on a board, that they have a round tipped big screw on the bottom of their pedal. And then they'll put in like rubber pads on the bottom, like that solves the problem. That doesn't solve the problem, because most of the time a pedal's going to go on some kind of board at some point. Yeah, I mean, when I just get it, I'll throw it around or whatnot, but it's going to go on a board. Then you have these humps, and you put Velcro, and the Velcro doesn't come anywhere near the bottom of the board because you have these screws sticking out. So then you got to try and find the right screw of a flathead one that's kind of indented. I mean, it's just like, come on, this is basics. 2025, like flat bottom your thing. And do I need to go off on a Dunlop wah pedal? Try and mount that to a board. You're like, okay, it has these giant feet, which great. You know, wah pedal might be off to the side, but you're like, all right, I'm going to mount this. And you take off those giant feet, and the whole bottom comes off. So, okay, I'll take the screw, but now you've just got this kind of like loose fitting bottom. I paid $20 for, it hasn't arrived yet, for a pedal board friendly bottom that I could screw onto this Dunlop wah. Oh, so crazy. I have other wahs. I just don't like the way they sound. It's the Dunlop Zach Wild wah. I like the way it sounds. So it's got to be that one. Not the smaller ones, the ones that fit on the pedal board. It's just giant. Anyway, I just started my coffee, so I'm a little edgy today. I don't think I slept great either. My dog, I kept waking up and my dog was on top of me. He was needy, right? My Yoshi boy. Be on my legs and I'd move him, and then I'd wake up an hour later and it's like 50 pounds. It's no small thing when he's laying on you. Anyway, that's how I'm doing. One last rant is yesterday, every single thing that was digital or AI that is designed to help me was actually out to kill me. And everything malfunctioned. Phone, you'd be on a website, it's like, click here. It's like, I've clicked this 1,000 times. It hasn't gone through. That's why I'm up here right now. I got to bring it down here. All right. I'm just going to take it down. Talking about guitars and stuff. Then I'll go back to making my pedal board. Oh, I figured out. No, I didn't figure it out. At 4 in the morning, I was on YouTube. And I just realized I can't have ice. So apologies right now. Sorry. Hang on. Can I mute this? Bush League, Amateur League. All right. Sorry for that. What I learned is, so the problem with those screws, you essentially need a lift. So I've got Velcro here and Velcro here, the dual lock. But these screws are causing a problem, so the dual lock doesn't touch. So you take 2 more pieces of Velcro and you stick the sticky sides together, and it creates a bridge. So I could just make that a lift, and they'll all stick together, and dual lock is firm, and hold it all together. Super excited to solve all my problems, and I'll have a pedal board again. I had a pedal board, but a week ago, and I tore it apart because that's what happens around here. Yeah, that is what happens. Got your Kasha Rock Mod, the new one, or I'm guessing. I'm just gonna say it's the new one. Yeah, the Kasha Rock Mod. Any favorite settings for the burn channel? Well, if it's the original, which I just got back from John Kasha, fixed mine because the original has the worst old style switching. It's terrible. It requires specific things. So we just made it simple. Switch channels there, and then the other one is like a boost, I think. Yeah. Master volume. So I could switch channels with a simple switch there, and then I could switch master volumes with the other, which I'll never use, but I'll just switch channels. The new one is great because it's it's all like, you know, great, of course. And the new one has the low gain drive mode, which is my favorite sound on the Rock mod. The drive is great. The burn, it's super fun. But the money channel is the low gain mode, which is basically just like a great JCM 800. I mean, when I played through that, yeah, it's a huge JCM 800. So that's my favorite setting. And it's pretty no brainer on the controls. I think it was just like 6 across the board. Pretty good, easy stuff, you know. Do I use EP boost in front of the effects loop? No, I don't like putting anything that has like saturation or grit in the effects loop. I like that to be clean. I know people said like, oh, you could put a tube screamer in there or something, but I'm even a little iffy on like a colored clean boost. Like I wouldn't put an RC booster. I don't even love putting a Boss EQ in there. What I have put in the effects loop is the MXR-C Custom Audio Electronics Bob Bradshaw boost, which is kind of super clean. If anything, it's a little bit fatter, but it's really clean. That's the solo boost, so I'll just go up 3 or 6 dB. The other thing is the Source Audio EQ2, and it's digital, but it has super low latency, and it's really good signal path. And that sounds great because it's so transparent. The only drag with that is there's a level control that's always active, and I hate this too. When I bypass, I want relay bypass. Get out the way. But this is always in line. So trying to get the exact level of bypass is annoying. So that's why for me, it usually goes back to that Bob Bradshaw boost. Super chat from my boy. How do I make it go over there? Go over there. I can't see it because I can't see it. I see it. There we go. A coffee contribution. That's the best kind of contribution. Thank you, Mark Kazansky / Dave Friedman, but I know this is Mark. Yeah. I don't need to hype him Toe Talk. That's one of the best shows ever brought to the internet. Great folks. Great folks. Here's something amazing about Dave Friedman, I'm just going to say, is Dave Friedman will connect you to people and better things happen for both of you. And then he just doesn't ask for anything. He just like, it's with it. I'm doing it because you guys should be connected. I see him do that all the time, not just for me, but for other people. He's a good seed. Really good guy. I mean, it's the same way he literally answers all the emails that come in. That's like, Dave, if I pull 2 power tubes on my Marshall, what happens with the speaker impedance? I know I've asked this 5 times before. Still answers. Sonic Blue. Have I ever thought about releasing Convolution reverb captures? Funny you should say that, Sonic Blue, because yes, I have something coming, and it's all really based around the Hotone Verbera pedal. It's a game changer pedal. I've not done a video on it for one reason is I don't think it's done. I think they put it out 90% baked. So why do I think that? Well, first of all, what is it? It's a Convolution reverb pedal. Not the first. There's been others. Loki did it with what is his pedal called? Loki, Australian pedal company, Josh Smith, because he also did the Josh Smith Poly. Yeah, poly. I think it's called verbs. Polyverbs. And also the new Strymon, Big Sky, has convolution in a pedal. But what I've never seen before, and I'm confident has never done before, the Verbera pedal, for one, it will do the capture. So let's say you have a, like I have this Earthquaker Devices dispatch matcher. Dispatch master. That's the words. Dispatch master. Dispatch master. This Earthquaker Devices pedal. So you just put it in loop with the Verbera. You hit capture. Boop, pop up it. Now that sound is in your Verbera. That's amazing. It's the Kemper of reverb pedals. Why couldn't you do this before? Well, really, quite often the duration of the loop or what it would capture was like, you know, a convolution cabinet is like 0.5 or 1 millisecond or 0.5 second. I don't know. It's super short, super short. And it doesn't matter, right? Because honestly, capturing the room in a convolution it's not the same. It doesn't work. There's room for technology to betterize convolution cabinets. Not a lot of people are doing that. I wish I knew how to do it, but there's room for improvement there. This Verbera, and a reverb, you know, you think about a typical reverb, like a room is going to be from like 0.5 to 1.5 seconds. A longer plate is like 2 seconds, and a long ass reverb is 5 seconds. In a natural space, a long haul is like 5 seconds. It's long. A lot of like 2.3 is a pretty regular usage kind of on a hall reverb. The Verbera does like 50 seconds of capturing. 50. Endless. Essentially endless. So, so what that means is you could capture any reverb. Doesn't capture modulation in the reverb, so it's a little different. Like if you have a real wavy sort of thing, lexicon-y thing that's super modulating over the top, it won't capture that part. It'll just capture one section of it, you know, a slice. But PCM 60s don't have modulation. If you just pull down the modulation on PCM 70, 80, all this stuff, it's dead on. It's dead on. So I've captured a ton of my favorite stuff there, like a lot of my tweaks, my favorite settings on pedals and stuff like that. And then I realized, like, if it's got this long ass thing, I could capture delays. And so I tried capturing a PCM 42, and it was like, oh, that's a better rack delay sound than 99% of the pedals. So then I was like, all right, I'm capturing PCM 42s, PCM 41s, Yamaha D1500s, Roland SD 3000s. Again, it doesn't capture the modulation. However, they intelligently included a modulation control. So you just go, okay, well, I'm going to add a little after the fact. And then it sounds awesome. I mean, I can't speak highly enough about this pedal. They nailed it. What didn't they nail? You can't change MIDI programs. They have MIDI, but it's not implemented yet. So I was like, great, this is a pedal board. I have bought 2 of them. So I'll have one as a delay and one as a reverb. And for each song, I'll just go, boop, I want a Roland delay for this one. Boop, I want Eventide reverb, Yamaha delay for this song. It's already mapped out. TC delay for this one at this tempo, because you can't change tempo. It's captured as is, right? But I dialed it to the songs or to an always on like sort of setting. Like, you know, Eddie didn't change his delay times. And often neither did like Lukather and stuff. So it's fine for live. So you can't change. You have to manually go, okay, step on that thing to go to patch change mode. Switch over is that one. It's a small screen. It's digital. It's got words, but it's like way over here. Am I on it? Oh, so close. So close. And I talked to them because I have some emails of the guys, and I talked to the guy who made it. They're like, yeah, totally. Of course. Yeah, we should do that. We're going to put it on there. Next firmware. Like, next firmware? What are you talking? You just released the pedal. That's critical. What do you, I mean, it's just like, sometimes manufacturers, gang, I just don't understand. I'm back on a rant. It's a ranty day. Manufacturers don't get it. It's as if they think they have a privilege to sell stuff. Like they put it out and they're like, well, people will buy it. And then they go, well, I don't understand. The market sucks. People aren't buying stuff. It's like, because you put out garbage. Like it's, you know, it's not done until it's done. It's garbage until it's done. So it's like almost useless until it's all the way done. Oh, you know who doesn't do that? And I know I'm kind of an insider, so I could actually tell. Boutique amp distribution does not play with that stuff. When something is not finished, they just stop. They're like, make it right, finish it, stop, hold. Like I've seen them do crazy stuff where they had them all. I won't even say what product it is, but they had them like hundreds, and we're like, oh, something needs to be changed. We just found this thing. I do like some like beta testing or alpha testing, whatever. I work with them a lot because they do great stuff, as we know. But you know, that's like the Friedman products, Wampler. Not that I'm in those, but I'm on the distribution side that I help them. The RX stuff, Synergy stuff. I do a lot with the Synergy, Tone King, Saldano. You know, the Diesel, some bad boys. But there was this product, and it we found something, and I'm like, okay, we're gonna have to manually open every box, and manually we are gonna change every single one before they go out. They could have just said, here you go, here you go, customer, you buy it and you do the update. They didn't. Anyway, that was the day where I was like, these guys give a shit. I like this. I'm willing to, they listen, all right, that's enough about that. Back to convolution reverb captures. Yeah, so as soon as Hotone puts out this firmware, that's what it is. But they are captures of that can be used in your DAW. They can be used in really anything, as long as the delay time is, the impulse capture is long enough. Impulse playback is long enough. So something like the Big Sky, I don't know what its limit is, but like a super long delay would probably get faded out, truncated. But they'd still be useful. And if you're using it in your DAW, then yeah, it's a great way to get all of these sort of colors. A lot of them are mono because I'm thinking it's for like the pedal, right? So like that's kind of my thought process. You know, like a single PCM42 is mono, is what it is. I'm going to apologize for being a little scatterbrained today. Did I see? Yeah. Andrew Raharjo. Hey, man. I was thinking about you all week, actually, because if you're on, I don't know if just my feed, my Facebook feed is constantly showing me this new pedal from Ghost Note Audio. This is my flash water. And it's called Swirls. Swirl. Very cool pedal. It's a 3-in-1 pedal. that has tri-stereo chorus, micro pitch shift, and a DBX compressor. It's all digital. And very cool. Lots of cool stuff. 100 milliamp power draw, which is like, what? Implemented well, everything, but still digital. And every time I turned it on, I'm like, it's not analog. No one has ever captured analog chorus in a pedal. I've never heard it done well. No, I don't say never heard it done well. I've never heard it done to the level that a real analog chorus does. It's that thing. I would go so far as at this point say it can't be done. So yeah, I was thinking about your tri-stereo chorus that you make that is inspiring and juicy and vibey. It does every single cool adjective. And then a digital chorus is like, yeah, that's doing the thing, kind of. Like, it's cool. But not an analog chorus, not the same. The best part of that pedal is the micro pitch shift, because that's a digital effect. And it's emulating a digital effect. So it's like, yeah, that sounds right. That sounds right. Do a lot for life, right? That's my t-shirt. Oh, I keep taking the ice. One moment. Hey, Peter. Tube amp with low box with an IR into studio monitors. Is that better than modular with studio monitors for you? Yeah, 1,000,000%. I would say in the last 10 years, this is my journey. It's like here. And it was like, at one point, it was just like line 6, right? And then Kemper comes out. Oh, it was line 6 and IK Multimedia Amplitude. Those were kind of the ones, right? And Overloud THU. Kemper comes out. Huge leap, right? And then everything's very exciting. Gosh, look at that. Look at how this is doing this, right? And then you go like, cool, they got to here. And you're like, wow, it's amazing. And they're like, a new thing. And they're like, it's better than everything. And you're like, no, it's pretty much just as good as the last thing. This new thing, it's better than the last thing. And you're like, no, that's kind of just a different of the same of the last thing. Nothing gets past here. And now we're here. And now I just fucking can't take any more of the hyperboles of like, this is the game changer of your amp. It was the line 6, their summer event, that did it for me. Of like, that's it. They didn't have it ready. Clearly, they were talking out of their ass because they didn't have it ready. They didn't have anything to show. They couldn't show demos. They didn't show demos of the sound of it. They're just talking about what it can do with no sounds. And then I talked to people that have played it. They're like, yeah, it sounds like a line 6. Yeah, I'm just out. I'm done. Look, I like ToneX. It's useful. I've got a quad card. I'm on a live feed. Oh, that's my son who doesn't like to be on. He'll be back there. You're totally blurred out. No one can see you.
Got it.
Okay, bud. Yeah, I said, look, they're useful and I use them. I use the plugins. I have some great sounds on the Kemper, great sounds on the IK. I use the Quad Cortex, super useful. Line 6 makes amazing, great stuff. So let's just, keep that real. And the new Helix is going to be great. Nothing touches a tube amp. Not even close. We're so far away from it. But yeah, you I can do an A/B right now that would show like, look, they sound exactly the same. Yeah, I could easily do that. But then you throw it in the real world with variables and volume and band members and or different mixes and like, yeah, might work in that song. Did it work on the next song? Nothing touches a tube amp. And it's not, yeah, it's funny because like what you're talking about here is not, I'm not saying it's got to be a tube amp through a 412 to tape in all. That's not what I'm saying. They just have not captured what happens when you plug a guitar into a tube amp. I love IRs. They're life-changing to me, man. I would say IRs are like 80% of the time better than the mic'd up cab, maybe 90, because of user error. It takes so much time to be sure that it's perfect. And it's hard to go from a room where you're at a raging 100 dB cab or louder into studio monitors and go like, yes, is that translating to the same? And then you're like loud and quiet. It's super difficult to do. So that consistency of the IR and being able to dial it in over time and then put it in your IR device so that when you're playing live, that's the sound that comes out too. A million times better. Just embrace the rant. That's my new t-shirt. I mean, I would say that it did work out. That was pretty mega, and they were together for a long time. And then I would guess that there was just a money deal. It was like, oh, I could get more at PV, and I could get more if I just, why am I farming out? I'll just make it, you know. Oh, some kind soul. Doesn't this let me post it just? Sorry, there's a super chat. I want to find it. I want to respect the chat. Oh, and Peter Urban. I almost called you Keith Urban, and I'm sorry. This is where I'm at. And before I go to this is where my brain's been at. I put out that stereo guitar video, which I was really proud of and super happy the way it came through. And Angus Clark is on there, and like I asked everyone on there is like I would call a friend. Like we're friends now, and it's like this is super cool. And I'm friends with Jay Gore, who I've always loved his guitar playing, and I've been following him for years. And I wrote his name as Joe Gore. And you can't change it once something has gone live on YouTube. And in the comments, they're like, that's not Joe Gore. Like, yeah, I know. And then Jay sent me a screenshot, and I'm like, what? I just don't see it. What? And then as soon as he's like, it says Joe Gore, I'm like, oh. So, yeah. Oh, got it. We get these little mosquitoes, and I'm super sensitive to them. So it's live murder or death on Bug Channel here. Cynosure Anthem. Cynosure Anthem. It's probably your band name. I have to look that up. That's interesting. Cool. I like your little avatar picture. I bet it's cool. It's very small. Is the Boss EVH, and thank you, is the Boss EVH SDE 3000 delay similar to a PCM42? I was wondering if I could use the Boss for vocals. Any advice on delay settings? I would want to buy the PCM42, but only have the Boss pedal. They're not exactly the same, no, for a couple reasons. The PCM42 in particular, it has a limiter, an analog limiter on its input. So a lot of people will drive that as part of its sound. People will turn off the delay and just use that as like a compressor limiter, famously on like guitars. But it sounds cool on drums and vocals. I mean, kind of any back to this, like any analog thing, just it's kind of cool. And it's really hard to recreate. You could sort of you could approximate it if you have something to A/B, but it's hard to recreate the analoginess of it. So if you take that out, if you're not hitting it super hard, it's not really happening. It's not doing anything. So let's remove that component of it and just talk about the delay. They have a slightly different modulation. The PCM42, if you just barely crack that modulation, it's like, whoa, it's kind of all over the place. I think the SD3000 is a little easier to navigate the modulation. The SD3000 is easier because you could save presets. Now, as far as the pedal goes, I thought it was a little silly that they made it so true to the original that it's, compared to these days, it's a pain to save presets, but that's a whole different rant. That pedal sounds great. The SD3000 sounds great. I have the I had that, and then I had the 3000 non-EVH, and really it's just a size thing that now I have the Boss SD3. They all sound the same. They're all great. I would say it doesn't sound the same. The 42 has a certain like fatness to it. That's part of its character. It's a little bit of a warmer thing. But I wouldn't let that stop you, because the SD3000 pedal also does that thing where you use it and it sits in the right place. You don't have to go like up one, up down two, with that. You have to do with digital things very often. It just goes, wow, works with you, that sort of mind reading thing. So I would totally use it on vocals. It's not exactly a PCM42. They make PSP makes a PCM42 plugin, and that is not exactly like a PCM42. So I would use the delay. It's weird that, you know, both of those are digital delays, but something about going out into them, or just how the low bit rate or resolution just brings such a cool factor to the tone. No. Where was I? I'm using my iPhone as a camera today. That's why it's way more clear than that smudgy built-in webcam on my laptop here. I upgraded. I learned something. All right, I'm back some more. Sorry if I missed anyone back in here. Huge difference between a dyne IR and just an IR at 96 kilohertz. Well, the dyne IR, what's dyne about it is the dynamically being able to move the mics around. Not necessarily its resolution, although they're captured at a high resolution. Excuse me. So I also can't really hear a huge difference between like a 44.1 and a 96K guitar cab IR resolution. I think it's just, you know, the nature of what electric guitar is. It's not a hi-fi instrument, unless what you're doing is some futuristic guitar tone that would require it. But the cool part about the dyne IRs is being able to manipulate multiple mics and move them around the grid. That's the dyne part about them. So is there a huge difference? Sonically, they're just different animals. You know? And we're talking about the wah pedal, the aftermarket bottom, so you could take off the part that has the feet and Velcro it to the thing. I didn't see anything from DoD. This was, I think it was EWS, and it was coming from Japan, and they had like special Japan shipping. So it's supposed to get here tomorrow. Just got the Iwa, Zach. Oh, Justin. Why do you say things like that? Why do you do this to me, Justin? You know I have a soft spot for Bob Bradshaw. Oh, so I did that stereo video, and at the end of that, there was like a half hour with Dave Friedman that was all pretty relevant. But when I was talking to Bob Bradshaw, we talked for like an hour about all kinds of stuff. It was so great. And it just wasn't all about stereo guitars. It was about racks and Lukather, all of that stuff. So I have a whole video of just conversation with Bob Bradshaw. It's going to be great. Very excited about that. Thank you, Eric Walter Smith. I appreciate you. That's super kind of you. Have I played the Blackstar St. James amplifiers? No, it's funny. I was talking to a friend yesterday, and he was like, "Oh, have you tried this?" No. Have you tried this? No. Just like regionally, certain things don't make it to certain places, I think. I've never seen a Blackstar in person. I think that's under the Vox brand, so they should exist around, like at least at Guitar Center or something like that. So I have not, but holy smokes, I got to give them props for the aesthetics, especially like they have this sort of rectangle cab. As soon as I saw it, I'm like, that's gorgeous, really, really nice. I would love to stand in front of that. But no, I haven't tried any. Don't they make a Aldrich? The Aldrich model? That's got to be pretty badass. I think. Okay, so I was at Sweetwater's Guitar Fest, and Dave had not all, but look at this. See, Yoshi, get down. Yoshi, hey, Yoshi, what are you doing? Stop it. Oh, stop it. I love you. I love you. And they had the Plex in there, and it sounded awesome. It sounded great. That's Dave's Plexi, so it's not like he didn't try to go, hey, this is a perfect replica of a Plexi, but Dave's version. I would say it's like compared to mine, which is 71. Mine is harder. Weird adjectives, but mine is harder and cuttier. And the Plex is a little squishier and warmer, but very cool. You know, the amp that kind of was like, what? Was the Jake E. Lee, the JEL 20, because everything was on a switcher. People would sit down and you're in front of a wall of 8 amps, 2 412s, stereo effects, sounded amazing. And people would sit down and were like, holy crud, what are you playing through? And I looked down, and it happened twice, where I'm like, that's got to be the BE100 Deluxe or something. And nope, Jake Ely 20. It's like, oh, wow, that is a little flamethrower. Oh, here's a little technical clarification. Justin Bryant of TwoNotes says Dyna-IRs are 96K. So difference, you know, the sample rate doesn't matter to me, but you know, I think that's smart, future proofing. You know, if you're going to capture it at 96K. I think that might be happening. I think that might be the West Coast World Series. The Dunlop 95Q, I think that's the one that has the switchable EQ. So if it's super pointy or broad, and then the frequency where that goes for the wah sweep. I used to have one of those a long time ago, and I don't know where it went. Yes, and it was super versatile. But the problem with that is I have this problem that I go, oh, I want the one that goes like, whoa, 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 super low. But in reality, what I should just do is have the one that goes like waka, waka, waka. Oh, thank you, Justin. Appreciate it, my brother. Here's a super chat from Flash 84. Flash, but I can't find it. There it is. Flash. How would I describe the tonal differences between the BE100 Deluxe and the Jose? Just bought a Jose, but still have the BE100 on my bucket list. Okay. They are aiming for the same target. There it is. They're aiming for the same target. They're coming at it from a different angle. So Dave Friedman is so influenced and inspired by, I really think, the Jose tone and the Van Halen tone and stuff. That's really deep in his sonic signature, what he like mentally references. Whether he tried to or not, I think that's where he went from. Even my BE100, the original kind. And the BE100 Deluxe just gives you more ways to contour all of the sound. So there's very similar. So he made basically kind of like a Jose coming from this direction, which was sort of preamp and being able to manipulate the preamp stuff. Because also thinking about it, like Dave came up in the preamp era. He's not like a preamp dork like some of us, but because he's like an amp guy. But you know, he learned a ton under Bruce Agnator, who is really, he's a preamp pioneer and invented that whole synergy modular thing, and was around through the whole Saldano Bogner preamp craze and that. So you know, technologically it super works, and it allows you to have great tone at any volume and manipulate the tones in the way you want, and have a better effects loop. And there's just so many benefits to that, the channel switching and the like. So that's where it comes from. Now the Jose is aiming for that same target, but it feels more like an old car where you got under the hood and you're like, we got to crank this schmanker and twist the herker and ratchet up this. So they're going to the same place. And if you A/B, one will feel a little, the BE100 Deluxe might feel a little more preampy, which some people like, and the Jose might feel a little more cranked amp, which other people might like. And conversely, some people may not like the other as much, but they're going towards the same place. And then both of them have things that the other can't do. I mean, as far as kind of sounding like an authentic plexi, the Jose, I think, sounds a little more like cranked plexi on 10. But it's a single channel. So there's a bit of a trade-off there. Also, one of the modes puts the like effects loop in a place too, that if you have everything super cranked, you have a slightly compromised effects loop situation, and you know. But on the flip side, I love the history on the Jose, and there's certain sounds on there that are just like, okay, that's it. That's the best. That is the best. But in terms of versatility, then the BE100 Deluxe. All right, that was long-winded. Sorry. Sorry, gang. Long-winded. Let me go back, see if I could catch some of these others. It's funny. So I'm back in time, and people are answering a question I had from well before. So I should have just looked in the chat at the time. I need to have two chats, one that's in real time and one that just goes back in time. Is it true that YouTube takes 40%? That's very possible. I don't know. I don't itemize it, so I'm not really sure, to be 100% honest. That's kind of a long question, but I did grow up. I grew up in LA here, where I still live, San Fernando Valley. So I was born in Tarzana, which is the next town over. Grew up in Winnetka, which is a couple towns north. Went to school at UCLA, back diagonal. Had my kids in Valencia, which is Santa Clarita Valley, the next valley over. My parents live now. And then moved down, raised my kids in Encino, where I'm at now. Just like the Encino man. And even when I started, and I mean, how did I end up in the music industry in LA? Really, it started out of college. I met a guy and we were like, let's do this. And then I started a pop music production company, and we were producing music and writing music. And then I was like, I am going to score TV shows. It's a long story, so I'll tell that another time. But yeah, I grew up here, and School of Hard Knocks. You know what? I haven't tried the head brush cab, to be honest. I have two ToneX cabs though to run stereo. I like the ToneX cab. Is it that much better than head brush cab? It's so hard to tell on the digital stuff, to be honest. I don't know. Looks are better. I think what's better is just finding the least amount of money to pay for things. Yeah, ain't that the truth? Just put a 412 up and then find any modeler and be like, all right, figure it out. Yeah, sure, put a PA system, an entire PA system I would put against 412s. Which would you prefer to listen to? A modeler through a PA system or tube amps through 412s? Yeah, Michael Torrens in the house. Oh, my wife is calling. Call her later. I should probably go on a little bit. So it's got to be a short one today, but I wanted to get this going, so I can do this every Saturday. And I'm trying to hit some questions before I wrap. Yeah, the dirty fingers in the Les Paul, it sort of fixed that Les Paul. I almost sold that Les Paul several times, the black 70s Les Paul Custom. It's got a little bit of a weird neck, in that it's like, I wouldn't say warped. It's just like it's a kind of thinner, flatter neck, and that the 70s style. And so it's very sensitive to the string gauge and the action and stuff. It has a super cool sound. To me, it sounds like Black Sabbath, but the Dirty Fingers pickup made it way cooler. That's what I was trying to find to get the right focus on it. Before it was always kind of like a little dark, and that opened it up in a very great way. My favorite guitar, hands down, it's my Shabbat, my light blue Shabbat 2 humbucker Telly. No matter what I grab. My friend brought over a 1962 Strat this week. Oh, that's amazing. And then I played my Shabbat, and I was like, oh, yeah, I'm good. What do you think of a mini rack idea for an 80s cover band? Yeah, I think that's great. I've been considering that too. I loaned my X88IR to a friend, Andrew Sinowick, who's bonkers good. He's like, I don't know, top LA studio guy, maybe at this point now. And he was loving it too. And so as I've been going through this journey, I was like, well, I don't need to get it back. Andrew's using it. So yes, Jay Gore is badass. He plays like not full time, but for musicians, he plays in a full-time Journey cover band that they play like 100 shows a year all around the country, and they travel and stuff. They had a show in LA, and he played, and he had a cool little mobile rig with an IRX and then a bunch of pedals, New Neighbor pedal, chorus and reverb. I'm trying to remember what else was on there. Jan Ray, overdrive. Sounded awesome. And he had his white Tyler, and he just nailed it. So relaxed too. He's walking around like, I say so relaxed because he's playing Neil Sean solos dead nuts perfectly. I would not be that relaxed. He's just chilling. Like, I'll walk over here and play it. What's up, Braxel? It's better for a tone. Fry out of the 2Notes. Cannot see how solids get better than tubes specifies. Well, at that, it's a tricky question. So I think it's kind of the implementation. If you're cranking, I would say go with the Fryette Power Station. If you're at a reasonable level, then maybe the 2Notes Reload, because like we were using the 2Notes Reload 2 at the Friedman booth at Sweetwater, and it sounded just like the amps at low volumes. But my only reservation is like if you get to the top end of volume on Class D amps, they typically they start to bring in some not so nice sounds. But the reason you use these things is so you're not, annihilating the first 5 rows. So I don't even know if it's some like even consideration. Like, why would you use a load box just to then make it even super louder? Unless you're using a Princeton or something like that. But even that, you're not taking a Princeton and throwing it into stadium volumes. Or, I mean, if you are, I hope you are. That's freaking awesome. So yeah, and then then after that, they're just kind of different. I would say the 2Notes Reload is super transparent, super duper transparent. It is stereo. So if that's consideration, you get a stereo power amp. Great. So that's super nice. The presence and depth controls on the 2Notes are voiced excellent. It's software. It's not a hardware presence and depth. But again, you're like, well, I have the two-tone. The tube is happening, and then the rest is just voicing the amplification of it. So I'm totally good with that, and it sounds excellent. The Fryette is the more older school approach of everything being analog and stuff. And then if you're talking about the Power Station 100, couple things that are cool about that is you can bypass it. So you could go back on the fly. You're playing and you're like, here's my quieter volume. You can bypass it. So now you're back to your amp. And or if you have the 100, you have 2 channels for different levels. But it's mono. So better is always difficult question to answer, especially when I'm friends with TwoNotes and Fryette. We compared 2 Tylers to that 62 Strat, and the 62 Strat just was like, oh, all right, that's the benchmark. And the Tylers were quite close. They are just sound a little more modern, a little drier, if that's a thing I can see, a little more like plunk, like plunk, 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 versus like woo, woo, woo. Does that even make sense? Hey, one thing, like you might want to just save up for a PCM 41 because the 41 is great and it may save you like $1,000. 41 doesn't have the limiter, but when you hit the front end hard, it distorts in a cool way. Check out, I have a video on the 41. It makes everything sound great, and it's very similar in the delays. Yeah. If you're hellbent on the Lexicon delay sound, I would maybe start on a 41. All right. Any difference between fractal and line 6? You know what? I gotta say for the line 6, everything they make, it sounds good on the effects. Everything. And then the fractals, I have a VP4 also. And so I find with the fractal stuff, here's line 6, everything's good. And then the fractal stuff, there's some stuff that's better. And then stuff that's not quite as good. Just barely. I mean, it's just kind of like that. I don't know. Again, I'm king of completely not helpful advice here. The Praxel, was he not talking about the Reload 2? Yeah, he was in Reload 2. Reload 2 is a fine device. It is fine. Super good. I mean, like in the classic Downton Abbey, fine. It's a great box. Hey. Oh, yeah, old Rumbo. I never did. I lived right near it. I ride my bike, ride past it, and go to the batting cages. And I kind of never knew what it was until, my early teens was like, Rumbo recorders. Oh, cool. Okay, I don't know where the chat management in StreamYard is not awesome. Okay. There's so many knowledgeable people in the chat too. So certainly feel free to answer any questions. I'll go back through and read everything later as well. Chicago, Timmer. Hey, man. I use 2 original large Bogner pedals, a blue and a red. I recently purchased a ToneX one and saw a platform capture pack from you. Would these pedals work? Oh, the pedal platform capture. Yes. Yeah. I have a blue Bogner large. That's awesome. That's a really good one. And I know the red one is good too. I just don't have that. Yeah, the pedal platform stuff works good. I still use that sometimes when I'm just in the box. they work really nicely. If you end up getting the pedal platform and it doesn't work, please let me know. And the best thing is like, send me a clip. People send me emails all the time and they're like, hey man, how do I make my amp sound good? And I'm like, I don't know what it sounds like now. You know, you plug in the guitar and you make it sound good. But if you don't send a clip, but then people get freaked out, you know, like, I'm not gonna send a clip. Like, no judgment. You could just hit some G chords and it's like, just need to hear what it sounds like. Amanda, hello. Justin Bryant, the Reload 2 is 100% analog. Yeah, is the depth and presence analog? Like the way like it would work on an amp? Sorry. Yeah, okay. Well, I will hold my I gotta investigate that. I mean, I believe you. I just want to make sure that I'm using the right words. I don't want to false misrepresent that. And I saw this other question I wanted to grab. Two favorite current delays. Well, 100% my favorite is a captured rack delay in the Ampero. And then, but since that is kind of not fair, my favorite is the Boss SDE3, the smaller rack mount delay, and the Keeley Halo. And I like the Boss DD500. Strumming timeline's still good. Empress delay thingy is quite good. Like a HX Stomp is pretty good. Oh, the Hotone Ampero stuff has really nice racky sounding delays in there. Those guys do good stuff. Mm-hmm. Yeah, man. And then you do mono. You throw mono into the equation. It's even harder. Even harder to find a great delay. Of course. Womp, womp, womp. Oh, that's a good idea. All right, next week I will sort that out. There's an F1 race next week, so we'll see if I can do this and watch a race. Justin knows. Justin is TwoNotes USA, by the way. So yeah, if Justin tells you something about TwoNotes, he knows. He's also got great ears and stuff. So, but if he tells you not to buy a Fryette, you also know where his bias is. So, but no, Justin doesn't bullshit around. I know he if he thought something else was better, he would tell you that. Okay. Where did it go? Something just moved. Chance to play the preamp. No, I haven't tried the TwoNotes preamp. I did get a chance to try the Leviathan amp the other day. That was pretty cool. An XXC, an SC, and yeah, Red 7 makes killer stuff. It's just tricky because they're in Italy, and to get it's a little tricky. Yeah, here you go. See, like this is Justin. Because Justin is a guitar player just like us, so he's in the middle of pedal crisis, just like we send each other pictures. So we're just trying to get to the the bottom of the stuff. But I will tell you that two-note Reload 2 when it came out, I was like, oh dang, this may be the best one yet. It is very good, and it's held up. Every time I use it. Here's the best thing I could say about it. Every time I use it, I don't think about it, which is all I want. It's mostly what I want from my gear, from my delay pedal. I don't want to think about it. From the chorus pedal, I want to turn it on and to be chorus, and then I don't have to think about it. When I'm thinking about it or it's drawing attention to stuff, it makes me crazy, and then I'm not in the music. And so the Reload 2, when I use it, I don't think about it. And then I'm tweaking the amp. I don't have to think about the Reload 2. Everything is like in the correct, feels right. It's working. So that is the highest compliment I could pay, is that it does its job and it fucks off. That's my other shirt. Do your job and fuck off. I needed to end a good rant morning in a good rant way. And I will end with this. JW, thank you, you kind soul. Like your little avatar too. Best synergy module to cop some sick extreme TwoNotes. No, that's a good question. Man, I'm always like, guys, you know what would be cool? An 80A MP1. And I'm like, but you could go buy an 80A MP1 for $300. Like, yeah, but it's not the same. I want it. I keep asking. One day. There's just so many things they're trying to do, Someone had asked if there'll be more Marshall stuff. I hope so, because I think this has to sell well, because the JMP has to sell well. But I could see there being like at least 5 other things, like Plexi, which we have, JTM 45s, JCM 100s, JCM 900s, JVMs. Yeah, I mean, a whole bunch of cool stuff there. So back to this, I might have to try to see if I could maybe make a video of this, because I'm not exactly sure. I would go out on a limb and say the Friedman BE 100 Deluxe module is my guess. That's my guess. Maybe the Killer Cali, but the Killer Cali is thinner because it's a high gain tight thing. So maybe not. Anything else that I have this thing that keeps going in the back of my mind that maybe the Uberschall, if you dial it in right, can do that. I know Dave would disagree, but when you have a high gain BE 100, it's kind of like a 80A MP1. They can get pretty close. But the funny thing is the 80A MP1, it's like the 2D version of a 3D sound. Something about that preamp, just, it's a great sound. and closest. What sounds closest to the JMP1 rack band? I don't know if there is that. And kind of the new Marshall Synergy module kind of does it, but I would love to see a Synergy JMP1 too, because every freaking JMP1 I come across has knobs that don't work, and the encoder jumps from 1 to 50 and then backwards, and the encoders just didn't hold up. Oh, interesting. I would think that the Powerball would maybe be a little like thick and warm based on my angle experience, but let me see. Yeah, it's a great power amp. The Reload 2. It doesn't have a lot of color, but the depth and presence are voiced really nicely. So you can dial in stuff, but it's legit, good, solid stereo power. Thank you, Hunter. Appreciate that. Loved the Sykes tribute stream. Was there any stories of you and John that remembered afterward that didn't share? Nothing that would really make sense. Sort of like it was long ago and many times that it's like sometimes it's like trying to remember a dream a little bit. I remember sitting with Derek Sherinian and Tommy Aldridge. We were waiting for the bus or the train. And Derek Sherinian, he was a bit of he was in a curmudgeon-y state for a lot of that. I enjoyed his personality a lot. He seemed like he was in a mood, a curmudgeon-y mood. And because they were playing Jelly Roll on this tour, and they needed the acoustic guitar part for Jelly Roll, and John didn't want to switch to acoustic guitar. He had the guitar tech play it, and I was going to, and I was like, I get to play acoustic guitar on stage, and then they're like, nah, you're going to be over there. We're going to have John's guitar tech play acoustic. And I remember Derek being so bent out of shape that the guitar tech got to play on stage with John Sykes and Tommy Aldridge, and he's like, I've been busting my ass for 20 years. Went to Berkeley and played with Dream Theater. It's taken me this long to play with Tommy Aldridge, and this guy just gets on stage. Like, seems like a weird thing to curmudgeon about. That really wasn't about John. Did I tell you that when we were there, I got into an elevator at our hotel and Robin Ford was there? And I look over and it's Robin Ford. And I went into a deep panic. It's like, what do I say? Do I say something now? Robin Ford is way high up on my forever guitar players. Top 10 easily, maybe top 5. So the door opens and I had to get out first. And I just dropped one of those like, oh, I love your music, and then ran out the door. It's very embarrassing. So yeah, I didn't actually meet him. I just dropped a love bomb. And then it was like, out, peace out, smoke bombs. And then ran away. Last thing I'll say, I do not think you will be disappointed if you got the Reload 2. The load in the Reload 2, which to me is the most important thing of all of this, because if you plug your amp into a load box, that sounds weird or not what you expect. You can amplify it any which way. or you could put a million IRs and it's never going to be right. The load on the Reload 2 is spot on. You know, I'll leave 1% for improvement, but it's like, that's it. It's 99% there. I'm not, you know, I guess it could be different because it's voiced, you know, it says it's Celestian voice, but which one? Is it voiced like Greenback cab or a B30 cab? I don't know, but it really doesn't matter. You plug into the load box, that is what your amp sounds like. That is what you would expect your amp to sound like. That is why that box is phenomenal. The power amp and the knobs and stuff, that's all fine. Whatever. None of it matters without the load being perfect, and the load is perfect. So I think add room to do whatever you need to do. So I think you'll be very happy. Anyone would be very happy. I'm very happy with the Reload too. No, I don't think we'll ever. I never heard any of them. I was gone by then, but I don't think we'll ever hear those. It's a drag because I think it'd be awesome. It would be super rad. All right, gang. Oh, we got to almost an hour now. Super appreciate you guys being here. That's really cool. Next week, I will try to be less ranty. We will see. It's possible that Saturday morning, I've just bundled up all the crud from the week, and I have to get it out. Yeah. All right, I almost went off on another rant right there. So I'm gonna spare you. All right, everyone. I hope you have a great weekend. Recharge your battery, refresh, do what you got to do. Come crush it on Monday. All right, peace to you all. See ya.